Fiddlesticks has always been quite an unpopular champion in League of Legends. He was released as one of the original champions with a very simple kit that remained unchanged for 9 years. Occasionally he would see some pro play, even being brought out at the Season 4 World Championship semi-finals by Insec, the creator of the now well-known Lee Sin combo. More recently, he has struggled to be played in the jungle in pro play due to his early game weaknesses, instead being played as a tank support due to the strength and high duration of the old fear he had on his Q. In patch 10.7, the Fiddlesticks rework was released, but only a few people realised the true power of the new Fiddlesticks. Let's just hold on right here. New Fiddlesticks is one of the lowest play rate junglers right now, and I believe people still think he is really weak and still has the same problems he used to. I too have never even considered playing Fiddlesticks, as I always thought he was a struggle to play in solo queue due to his weakness to invades and requirement to be level 6 before he can do anything. However, Fiddlesticks is actually the third highest win rate jungler right now, and that is because of this new strategy created by our challenger Fiddlesticks One Trick named Teddy Stick. He has found a way to remove all of the weaknesses of Fiddlesticks that causes players to ignore him as a champion. I'm going to show you how he does it. Teddy Stick was a casual LoL player in Season 8 who decided to give Ranked a try. In his first season, he had already gravitated towards playing Fiddlesticks jungle, and it brought him all the way up to Plat. In Season 9, he focused once more on his favourite champion, playing about 370 games of it and nothing else. This brought him all the way up to Diamond 1, 100 LP, but he could not crack Master Tier with old Fiddlesticks. At the start of Season 10, he heard about the Fiddlesticks rework and decided to take a break from the game until it was released. His account decayed all the way down to Diamond 4 as he waited for the new Fiddlesticks, hoping it would be what he needed to climb past Master. The rework was released in April 2020, and he immediately shot up to Master, climbing to Grandmaster in the next month and Challenger by August. Over the months, he tested every single rune and build he could think of until he found the perfect combination that allowed him to get all the way up to 813 LP Challenger. Let's have a look at that broken combination. Quickly before we continue, most people who watch my videos are not subscribed, so make sure to subscribe if you like this kind of content. Now back to Fiddlesticks. Teddy Stick's perfect strategy is Predator on Fiddlesticks. This lets him take the Domination tree to pick up Ultimate Hunter, and for his secondaries he takes Inspiration with Futures Market and Cosmic Insight. This is a very unique page that is not seen on any other champion, and that is because it is built to fit Fiddlesticks and fix all of his problems. He also has a very unique jungle clear that is vital to this strategy. I'll show you it and then explain why it all works together so well. Every game, he starts without a leash, as he doesn't need one, giving his team an instant advantage. For bot side, he starts at Wolves, auto-attacking them once to leash them, then dragging them over to blue buff, and using W to hit it over the wall. He then moves to this spot right here to ensure neither camp will reset, and he finishes the wolves off with Drain. Next, he drags the blue buff up and moves to this spot. He uses his E on Gromp to leash that, letting him finish off both camps at the same time. After this, he runs down, takes the blast cone, moves to Raptors, auto-attacks them, uses E on red buff to drag it towards him. Once again, he has a very specific spot he stands on to make sure they don't reset. He finishes the Raptors with Drain, and begins to move towards Golems, which he does after finishing red buff. This gets him to level 4 at 3 minutes 10 if done correctly, one of the fastest in the game for any champion. Even Graves, who is one of the best junglers in the game, needs a leash to be able to clear this fast. So now it's 3 minutes 15, he's level 4, he's set up to contest Crab. He always smites Gromp, and then saves his second smite for the Scuttle Crab, so that he can always secure it easily. He's now level 4, and you can look for a mid or bot gank if enemies are overextended. Or, what Teddy Stick normally does, is base immediately. This might seem silly, but this is where Futures Market kicks in. He now has exactly enough gold to get boots to unlock his Predator, as well as Blue Smite. This gives him massive early game power and would not be possible without these runes. The special clear for topside is very similar, but instead he always starts on red buff actually. He does the same style of clearing multiple camps, leashing Raptors to start with red and standing in the same spot, then Golems, Wolves, Blue and Gromp in the same way. Again getting level 4 full clear at 3 minutes 10 to 3 minutes 15, ready to do Crab. There are two reasons he starts red instead of the usual blue buff that Fiddlesticks would like. One is that Fiddlesticks is an AP jungler with mana, so stereotypically, he is known to start at blue buff. This means that if enemies would expect him to start blue and path upwards towards red, that gives them a chance to invade and kill him. Instead, Teddy Stick starts at red, so if the enemy jungler thinks this, they'll go to his red late and find nothing for them to steal. This basically prevents any chance of an early death, which is amazing for Fiddlesticks. The second reason he does this is the crab. The most common bot clear is starting red buff and pathing to their blue, and then getting top crab. As an early game Fiddlesticks, there's no way he wants to fight for a crab if he can avoid it. So he takes the safe path and goes for the usually uncontested bottom scuttle crab, again getting him enough gold to base and get his power spike. Now let's get back to his runes. As I mentioned, he is getting predator boots by about 4 minutes into the game. This makes Fiddle's early game ganks actually really strong. Often, Teddysticks will just be level 4 and run into a lane with predator on, fear the enemy, and stack a silence on them with his E, and then drain them to death. Predator gives him the gap closer he needs to get in range without ultimate, and this stays relevant for the rest of the game, making him much less reliant on it. But he does still have ultimate hunter, so he will have ult up at least every 80 seconds, which is really short for such a good ultimate. I also mentioned he takes Cosmic Insight. This is a vital rune for his jungle path, as it gives you perfectly timed cooldowns to finish off camps, rather than standing there waiting, taking lots of damage. This path is not possible without it, so Teddysticks always grabs that as well. So now, we're Fiddlesticks, almost out of the danger zone, almost level 6. Teddysticks aims to once again start clearing his camps from the side he started. So bot side he'd return to wolves, and top side he'll return to Krugs. He does the same path without the buffs, and this should get you to level 6 with no problems. You're now at basically full power and can begin to destroy the game. Instantly at level 6, Teddysticks is looking for his first gank. The faster he uses his ultimate, the faster it will be back up again to make another play. At this point, the most important part of Fiddlesticks is the paths that he uses to gank. Teddysticks is a master of these paths. He knows which gank routes work best on the champion, and exactly how to surprise even challenger enemies. If he can use these spots to surprise challenger Korean players, anyone can use these spots at any elo. He has a few favourites, including this one behind mid tower, where he can ult enemies who are trying to take the tower. This is never expected and is super good as it also clears the wave. It's less obvious than just going over a raptor wall, and that's why it works so well. For bot lane, he often just ganks from the river bush, ulting over the wall with the huge range of the ultimate dash. It's always longer than you expect, and Teddysticks knows the exact range, so can be even more inventive with his paths. Pretty much any gank that involves going over a wall is likely to work at most elos, even Korean challenger. Just make sure to use your ward/sweeper that Fiddlesticks has to check for vision before ulting, as you will only fear multiple enemies if you hit them from Fog of War. Teddysticks is so good at this that he does not even need to be ulting over walls to get a really good ult off. He's learnt the exact range of Fog of War in lots of places, so he can even be standing in Dragon Pit and still land a big fear on the enemy team without needing a wall to block vision, and he can even lane gank in the same way without going over a wall. These ganks are mostly important if you need a multiple person fear, but if it's just for one person, then gank paths don't matter as much, and Teddysticks will just ult as soon as he can, and then use his Q to fear them instead. It works just as well, you don't need to hit multiple people, you still have your fear on your Q. Speaking of ganking, you might have noticed he is ganking for a Zac top quite often in this video. This is actually another player that I did a video about that you should check out afterwards if you haven't seen it. He climbed a challenger playing Zac mid and top, and is now duoing with our boy Fiddlesticks. So now, we're Fiddlesticks, past the laning phase, ready to fight. So let's talk a bit about team fighting. Teddy Fiddle is rarely the one engaging fights. What I mean by this is that it's incredibly hard to find a good engage on enemies without them running away and wasting your ult if you're moving into them. The way he solves this is mostly by stalling for as long as he can before a fight. He prefers to answer a play rather than create a play. For example, it's much easier to be out of vision, setting up the best spot you can be in, ready to ult, than to walk forwards into enemy vision and try to find a spot that isn't warded. In fights, Teddysticks focuses on ensuring he is in Fog of War so that he can land a perfect ultimate. He does this with control wards and his effigies that act as a sweeper to disable the vision. He is not trying to get the highest DPS possible, but instead trying to walk into the best spot possible so that he can use his ult distance and fear to hit multiple people and win a fight. Positioning is everything. Another little known tip for Fiddlesticks that makes him even safer is on his W drain. The ability does not require vision of a target to use it. That's why he can leash blue buff with it over the wall. You can also do this to scout out bushes without even having a ward. If you walk next to a bush and your W is greyed out, unable to be used, then the bush is clear. However, if you walk close to a bush and your W is available to be used, you know that there's at least one enemy in the bush and you may need to run. This gives you basically a free ward for every bush around the map and is perfect for preventing early deaths. For his build, it's not going to change much from Season 10 to Season 11 with the new items. Right now, he buys the Blue Smite AP jungle item. In Season 10, he should buy Doran's Hail Seed, which is the starter jungle item that upgrades into Blue Smite without the need to spend more money on it. This should actually be a buff to Fiddlesticks in theory, as he can now get Zhonya's Hourglass even sooner, rather than needing to buy a full jungle item first. For boots, he always gets Sorcerer Shoes, and this should not change. Zhonya's Hourglass is staying in the game in Season 11, and will still be the go-to first item for Fiddlesticks, as he loves the invulnerability for safety after ulting. In Season 10, Teddy Sticks buys either Morellonomicon if he's against lots of healing, Banshees if he needs more safety, and Leandries if his team needs more damage, as well as Void Staff if the enemies are buying lots of magic resist. So in Season 11, all of these items are still in the game, and they'll still work just as well, if not better, on Fiddlesticks. There are even 2 new items that could be amazing on Fiddlesticks. The first is Axamuk's Folly, which makes you do more damage the longer the fight goes on, and then the second is Night Harvester, which gives you lots of movement speed each time you damage an enemy. These both sound crazy for Fiddlesticks Ultimate. 2021 will be the year Fiddlesticks gains a lot of popularity, so make sure to start playing him before everyone else realises he is OP. Thanks so much for watching, subscribe if you enjoyed and like the video. Teddy Sticks has a YouTube channel and Twitch stream, which I'll link below so you can watch him climb. Also make sure to follow my Twitch stream in the description so you can see when I go live. See you next time.